using all his powers for evil. I kind of feel that. Like, I'm just like, he's using all of his feelsy.
You're gonna write a whole bunch of minor songs.
He's using his Coldplay feelsy powers for, like,
but they're not.
worst kind of thing.
And then the song with Avicii.
Alright. So, why are you guys both fans of Kanye West, 808s, and Heartbreak?
I don't like this conversation. Here's the thing. There's the camera people don't have to know about this, but there's 3 of us, right? So we all chose a favorite Kanye album. So right now, the dichotomy of it is you chose one, he chose Yeezus, I chose 808s. Now, I'm fully willing to argue why that's the best one out of those 3.
Okay.
But
the best and your favorite are not necessarily the same thing.
Alright, exactly.
Wait, no.
That's the problem.
Because I put 2 actually. I put a.
Oh yeah, it was hard for us to pick.
Graduation. Mine was graduation.
No, I get you, but it's hard to. Well, in the conversation of that, it's hard to pick.
Yeah, it's not which one's.
Because like, Yeezus is my favorite, but if I had to pick one, even though his first few albums were so colossally influential, I would say 808 just because JP's mentioned this earlier, the songwriting holds up so well. All of those songs, you can take an acoustic and sing an open mic and they work.
Well, then here's the thing, that's why my favorite and my opinion the best one is 808s and Heartbreak. Because of 2, I know he can say something completely different on it, and of course all this is up for discussion. 2 things. 1, all the songs hold up in its most simple elements. Vocals and piano, vocals and acoustic. Number 2, this was the first time an artist of a caliber of such in recent years did something completely left field
and murdered
it and made it into another genre.
Drake
only exists because
808s happened.
It opened an oblivion portal.
Drake, Weeknd, Future.
Yeah.
And because of that, I feel that's the best one.
Which is funny because T-Pain started it before him, but nobody really caught it.
I don't think, T-Pain did traditional R&B, man. I'm in love with the strippers, and I'm sprung a very traditional R&B.
That's just a sound, though.
No, man.
Like that type of sound. Auto-tune. Bringing out auto-tune.
No, I'm talking about vocals, man.
Auto-tune was a huge thing for a minute. There were songs all over the radio.
It still was
like,
a huge thing.
Like, everywhere.
But
I felt anyway.
the production on the album was not, and all that shit was new to the lexicon of 2008. And beyond.
Like Bit Crush had all of those things had been around for a minute, and if you talk to the right hipster, they'll argue that there was nothing innovative about 808s. But it doesn't really matter if you don't bring it to the masses, which is what that album did.
So you think the songwriting is the strongest?
Yeah,
the songwriting and the influence.
I'm looking at it as a musician, not a rapper. If I'm saying a rapper, it's completely different because we know how rap culture is. But if you were to put it, dissect it into the smallest amount, the further albums would definitely never have existed if 808s wasn't made. There was no way to create songs like I Can't Hold My Liquor. No way to create songs like Runaway. It wouldn't have happened.
That's true.
So for me,
he didn't have the right.
That is, and not in creative.
He created a lane.
Yeah, at that point in time, he created something that there's a division between the first 3 albums and the 3 after that are that album, and that's why it's the best of my favorite, in my opinion.
Like newer artists like James Blake, FKA Twigs, how would their sound be weird to us had we not been exposed?
Exactly.
It wouldn't have happened.
I feel usually with music stuff, I'm open to interpretation, but I feel extremely strong that that's the best one, and that's an album that's done the most for our listening ears post it. To be completely honest.
What is your favorite song off the album?
I would have to go with Bad News as my favorite song. And that's a hard one to pick.
Roses.
That's not.
Damn it.
That's Outkast.
I'm an idiot.
No, there's Roses in
no, he's right.
May Registration.
Yeah. The only thing I'm thinking Roses.
I'd say oh my god.
If I would say you will for me.
Nightmare. See you in my night.
And that's an incredibly odd pick for me. I would never have thought that, but
I love the hook. The hook is so perfect.
Welcome to Heartbreak. Welcome to Heartbreak.
You know.
It's so rock star to have a hook like that. Actually,
Yeah,
thinking of it,
and
you're
I
right.
thought, and the choice of the guest to do that hook was, again, I would have never known. Who would have thought? It's like you sing. Did the same thing with Chief Keef. It's like I didn't even know Chief Keef knew what notes were.
Yeah.
Like,
My favorite off of it was Welcome to Heartbreak.
I didn't get that. I didn't really like that song too much later, and that's why it was a great album for me. A lot of songs didn't develop for me until much later.
No, I hated everything besides which one's the one that the Freight covered? Heartbreak.
Heartless.
Heartless. I hated everything
Heartless
but
is-
Heartless when it first came out, and then after like listening to it more and more, I started gravitating towards
that
it.
was Happy Growing.
Even Streetlights, I like Streetlights.
I had friends that even when it was going, they're like, "Oh, you gotta listen to this. Anything this guy does is great." And I was like, "I don't know, man." And now I look back and I'm like, "Damn, they were right."
I remember having an argument with Sergi. He hated it when it came out. We always talk about it. I just thought he was an idiot completely. I'm like 100%. And I think for fans of music, a lot of people just hate Kanye West because of hate him. But if you don't like 808s, I just don't like you. Like, there's like a good 5 albums on the list. If you don't like them, there's something wrong with you. I really can't. That album is perfect.
It's beyond. I don't want to say beyond opinion, but you have to have some serious bias to just not like the album. If you have that level of bias, you're probably a shitty human being.
Where does that album fall in your all-time favorites? As far
It's
as
definitely in my top 5.
top 5.
It's not top 2. Top 2 for me is super cemented, and that's never gonna change.
I know both Metallica, right?
No, Metallica's number 1. The second one doesn't.
I would
Redline.
I would
Yeah,
say.
Redline's number 1.
I would say
Who's number 2?
it falls in my top 10, but it depends on if you're asking me on what I feel about its influence or just my biased favoritism.
Well, for me, a top 5 album has to be A, something I can love to listen to, and B, something I love to learn from, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because everything on my top 5 has taught me so much about music in general,
Yeah.
and I love to listen to it. Because that's an easy thing about, I love the record, I love listening to it. Like
But if it doesn't progress your own sound and how you approach your instrument or something.
That's exactly the most. Remember, I think you were with me when I made that realization in 808s and Heartbreak. Then on the bridge, they just do, instead of doing the chords 4 times, they just do it in 2 and split it. And I'm like, I never realized that until I was older and I was in front of a piano. I'm like, wow, that's like, how come I never? That's such an easy way to do a bridge. And now, if I want to do a bridge, I learned to do that based off that song.
Yep.
It's such an easy.
And now you've incorporated that now.
Yeah, because it's something that has continuously taught me. My top favorite albums always have the power to do so. Always.
How do you think it'll look like in 10 years? This album.
That is the one Kanye album that I feel is going to age very well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I guess that comes from that's when you mentioned the rapper to songwriter perspective. Like, if everyone's like, oh, the references weren't super current and everything, but some of the subjects are, I mean, of course there were on-point references. That's
but
just,
they're also
it's Kanye, but there are so many universal themes that in 50 years someone's not going to catch that little reference here and there, but the song is still going to resonate, and because it's that synth poppy dark vibe that just hasn't gone out of style in the last 30 years. I don't see that changing.
Yeah, Chromeo made a career out of it. So.
Basically.
I'm pretty sure Chromeo made a career out of this RoboCop.
What time did Chromeo come out? Did it come out after?
Probably like it was probably in development, but RoboCop.
Before, dude. Before.
I'm pretty sure. Well, I feel like any music created post 2005 was kind of influenced, no matter if they say or not. In the pop, R&B world, how can you say no? He's created so much great things.
And he's been involved with so many artists and influenced. Like you don't even know that the Yeezus has touched you.
You have to be a devout jazz player, an ignorant metalhead, or like.
Dude, I told you
not listen to Kanye.
I told you my jazz professor just did not know 90s R&B happened.
What?
Do you know what that is?
He just didn't know.
He just did not know. I was like, you know what? Like the 90s, there was all this R&B. He was like, no.
Yeah,
I was just like, holy shit.
What has? Well, we might have to make this a duo interview.
That's fine.
Part 2. So we'll be right back.
Let's stop the audio. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, it's gonna be an editing nightmare.